Hello.
Good morning.
Are you ready for session 2?
Session 2 of the Creating Confidence Challenge. Live in your living room or bedroom or dining room table like us.
Yep.
I'm so glad that you're here today. If you're watching this later, totally cool too. Drop a replay in the chat and we'll see it and we'll touch it later.
Yeah.
We'll go maybe about an hour and a half this morning, and then we'll come back at 2 o'clock for session 3. And I'm super excited about what we have to share today.
Yeah.
You're going to hear a little more from us, Dixie and Zona. And we'll share a little bit about what we're doing with Bring Freedom and also new creative ideas on how you can mix things up in your own daily life to make a change and bring freedom to people in your community and around the world.
Yes.
We do have a very special presentation this morning from my friend Leah. And we did have to pre-record this because she had travel plans this weekend. She was going to the beach.
That's fun.
I'm just a little jealous.
Yeah.
Just a little.
It's like it's been a hot minute since I've been to the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. My last sunburn just finished healing, so.
Oh. I think the last time I was at the beach was on Memorial weekend. During that weekend, we went for one of my friend's birthdays. She fondly calls me her beach friend because I go to the beach with her more than anyone else.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That was like a long time ago.
I know. It's been a weird season.
And you live closer to the beach now.
I know. You would think that I'd be there all the time. That's what will happen when you think things will work out a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do love the beach. I'm not going to lie. It's really like, even, as I was driving in and I drove by the lakes, because there's lots of lakes around here. And I was like, I just love the water so much. And all the green that comes with it. And even though I can't swim in any other lakes because there are alligators and it seems like a bad plan if I want to keep my limbs.
People were like water skiing and doing all the things out in the water anyway. So I'm guessing the alligators are too aggressive, especially this time of year.
I think it's because the motors cause so much commotion in the boats when they're pulling people that it keeps them away. Because alligators tend to strike when they're like patiently watching you and you're just leisurely floating. It's my opinion. Anyways, if you know something more about alligators, drop it in the comments.
If you're a gator expert. Yeah. That was my son, Antonio. He's going to actually speak later this afternoon. When he was like 7, 8, he was like a gator expert.
Really?
And he was so excited that we're moving to Florida where he could see real gators in the wild.
Wow.
Because he'd only seen them at the zoo up to then. And yes, we saw lots. Well, I wouldn't say lots, but we saw lots of alligators in Florida. Not that many in the wild. Because they're really not that easy to see. Yeah. I was going to go on, but that's a little off topic. But all right, so we are going to get started this morning with my friend Leah, LJ, and she has her business called The Humble Peacock. I am going to go ahead and read her bio to introduce her, and we will play the recorded session. A little forewarning, we were having some issues with, some tech issues with, I think it was partly her microphone, but so the sound is a little weird, but stick with it because it's really good, and you're going to want to hear the powerful things that she's doing in her community. And what's really cool is what she is doing, it's helping communities around the world, and it's helping people in our own community. And I think that's just super powerful. And she's a mom, she's a wife, she's, just doing the next thing that is put in her path to affect change. And that is what we're really trying to inspire here this weekend. So, Leah LJ is a passionate lover of all things fair trade, especially everything that helps mamas stay with and care for their babies, and also everything that empowers women and their families out of poverty, trafficking, homelessness, and abuse all around the world. Leah is the wife of a certified arborist and grew up with an arborist dad, so she loves to climb trees. She is the mama to a crazy, fun 4-year-old boy, and he keeps her on her toes. You'll see a special cameo appearance by him today. They are loving the lake life in Citrus County, Florida. Leah grew up working for her dad, who owned his own business, and never thought that she would do the same. But now she owns 3 fair trade businesses and is opening a mobile store in a renovated bus.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. She has been selling her fair trade pieces and fabulous thrifted/donated finds, with all the funds going toward buying and opening a safe house for women and children in her county who need to rise out of desperate situations. Leah is a middle school and high school English teacher by trade, but last year she recently reinvented herself as a preschool teacher, so she could stay with her son as he entered preschool. Now she's working full-time on her own missional business while trying to start her Hope Haven home. Mm-hmm. She hopes to use those preschools skills in her work with children who need help in her community. Most importantly, she's a child of the living God.
Yeah.
We're excited to listen to Leah's session now. She did want me to stay on with her, so she felt like she was having a conversation. So you'll see some of my fun facial expressions reacting to sound issues. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
All right.
All right. Hi, Leah. I'm so glad you're able to join us today for the Creating Confidence Challenge.
Yay.
So tell us a little bit about the Humble Peacock and what you do.
Awesome. Well, good to see you guys. Thank you so much for having me here. And this chance to be able to talk with you conversationally is always a beautiful thing, to be able to connect with you. And you're one of my favorite people, and just a joy to be around and to talk to. So thank you, Dixie, for what you do. And
thank you.
I'm excited to find out more about what you do in the future too. But I'm here in my hammock on my extra lot. I have my crazy bus behind me, and I have a little bit. I'm starting up to figure out my setup for the Humble Peacock in using my extra lot as the launching pad for the business, and it's a missional business. As you know, it started with Trades of Hope, and that's how we're connected. So being able to find out more and learn about fair trade has been so lovely for me to be able to learn how to empower artisans and my sisters and brothers across the globe. But then as that happened, that started for me in like 2017. And as I have come to just talk to the Lord more about what he wants me to do, it's been on my heart for a few years, really, to work more here in my community. So I live probably like an hour and a half to 2 hours about from you, and like an hour and a half from Orlando, an hour and a half from Tampa, that Citrus County area. Very, it's the nature coast. It's like the only place you can swim with the manatees, uh,
So cool.
which is fun. And basically, I have realized that I really God wanted me to reach out in my community as well,
Mhm.
and that's been a challenge on my heart for a while now. Basically, how can I use the gifts that God has given me to bless women in my community and women and children?
Mhm.
So, with that in mind, I have um, just tried to see what in what resources I have, and also one of my passions is helping others to figure out what are they passionate about and how can they monetize that themselves if they need financial independence. Because as we know, women who are struggling to leave abusive relationships, for
Mhm.
instance, um, they will stay in these relationships for decades, years, decades. Um, and often it's because they don't see another way. So,
Yeah.
and as we know, I say the humble peacock is empowering women and their families out of poverty, trafficking, homelessness, and abuse. And all of those things are like spaghetti. They all touch on each other. They all,
Mhm.
like, it's all interwoven, right? Like, one thing can lead to the other, impact each other, etc. So, what I've realized is all of those things are happening in my backyard, truly. So
Yeah.
figured, why can't I use my backyard, and in this case, my extra lot across the street, to bless others? And in 2017 is when I first joined Trades of Hope.
Mhm.
It was to see, like, oh my goodness, this company here in Florida is blessing women around the world. It just like it took my breath away when I saw the pieces. I heard the stories in a in my pastor's wife's home or party. She had told me about Trades of Hope a little bit, and I never go to parties. I did not have good feelings about them.
Okay.
She told me about this. I said, okay. She's like, Leah, she's like, I can bless more artisans and I can get more of this beautiful product. I invite more people. Invite, and I invited 20 people to her party, and a bunch came, not as many as I wanted, but like probably five girls came, which is a big now it is a good thing. To get five extra to a party is fun. So all that to say, I remember sitting there and just being so impressed with, wow, like this is happening in Florida, and we're partnering with women around the world from Florida, and these products are gorgeous. I remember
Mhm.
looking at that Hope Bowl. That was one of my favorites, the Paisley Journal. And just thinking, this is incredible. I came to Florida, just a brief, background of my story. I came to Florida because I was trying to get over to Africa full time to
Oh,
work
wow.
with orphans and widows there. And I kept hitting up, this was it when I was in my 20s, and I kept hitting up against these obstacles, uh, largely in the form of my parents because they were nervous about, like my 20-year-old single self, being in Africa. And it was very hard for them to give me their blessing for that. And I didn't need their permission, but I really wanted their blessing. So with that, I said, okay, Lord, like I really believe that you want me to do this. So what am I supposed to, what am I supposed to do? And in that time, my now pastor from Florida called me. He knew that I had worked at a Christ-centered care facility in the past for individuals with life control issues like drugs and alcohol and
Mhm.
um, trafficking, sexual abuse in their past, and eating disorders, etc. And he said, well, we're starting a children's home in Florida, and we'd love you to come and work for us for a year. And I'm a teacher by trade, so they were like, can you help us start like a one room schoolhouse?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and also kind of be a um they wanted me to be like a relief house parent as well, like because it was a small ministry. We all had to wear multiple hats, etc. And I said, I love what you're doing. I think it's amazing for the community, but I believe in it. I'll help you find somebody, but I'm going to Africa. So he said, because I'm very stubborn Italian, and he's like, Leah, he's like, well, will you at least pray about this? Because he said, I was praying, and God kind of got me your names in my mind. And he said, don't feel like that means that you have to do this. I just wanted to let you know. So I'm not going to tell a pastor that I'm not going to pray about his missionary opportunity now. Like, okay, I'll pray about it. And as I did, God really like worked in my heart to make me realize I had to at least go there and see it. And going to the ministry, that's really where God got his hooks in me. And I was like, okay, I need to at least give this 1 year, because that's what they were saying. Like, give us 1 year, we'll help you get to Africa. It will be an easier transition for your parents to let go of you, to Florida and then to Africa. So that was my 1 year plan. I'm gonna go to Florida. Like, I'm rolling my eyes because I never ever wanted to go to Florida. Florida to me was macadam and just like a concrete jungle. Like, all I could think of was just Miami, perfectly spaced palm trees. I'm like, oh, no way. I did not realize that like a place like this existed topographically, with all these beautiful springs and rivers and beautiful trees, because I'm an arborist daughter, and I am the daughter of an arborist, so I love trees. And in God's good plan, I actually married an arborist, which I definitely was not looking for, but God has a sense of humor. And I was at that children's home for about 2.5 years, and I didn't want to leave. God actually moved me on. But the interesting thing is that, my husband here, and I found Trades of Hope, which I might not have found, which it's a Florida-based company. I might not have found that if I Florida. And all this because it all does relate. Okay. We decided to come back because I was a little bit choppy there on the recording. Is it a little better, Dixie, do you think?
I think so. We're gonna try it.
We're gonna try. Let me just quickly check. Yeah, I think it's good on my end for my internet, but
Okay. Oh.
hey again. We decided to come in. Internet was shoddy for some reason, but we got it, I hope, and hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. So I was telling the story of when I came to Florida from New Jersey, trying to get over to Africa, and God knew my heart that I really wanted to work there with orphans and widows. I did get over to Africa for like 3 weeks and set up the beginning from there. That then another girl took over. It's so interesting because I don't feel like I would have Trades of Hope. I wouldn't have found my husband most likely. And now my heart has really, I've always had a heart to do a safe house here, but God's really set on my heart more so with circumstances that have come up with friends and acquaintances who need a place like yesterday.
Yeah.
Last October, I kind of got that push to find a home, and because of a friend who was living in an abusive relationship, and I didn't realize it for a while, but I felt like something was wrong. I don't go too much into her story, but it was definitely a situation where she could have died if she stayed. And also there was a baby. She was going to have a baby, and I was abortion vulnerable because of situations kind of pushed on her by people not supporting her decision to choose life.
Yeah.
So all that to say, when I looked around, we both did, and tried to get to multitude of different options that are around here, because that would be the first choice. I find a place for her in this county or the next.
Oh no.
She ended up in a different county, pretty far away. So all that to say, it really was it impacted me in a big way that I wanted to start something here. And looking around 2 properties.
Oh, all
Okay,
right.
back. So I was sharing the story about my friend last October, how it really impacted me and pushed me towards trying to buy a safe house. I found 2 homes that would be perfect for both phases of the ministry. The first phase being hide and heal for women who, especially women and children who needed to leave abusive situations or just very desperate situations, trafficking, abuse, homelessness, etc. And so I found the first one, it was perfect. And then I found the second one, which would be for phase 2, which would be more of thrive and give back. My son just woke
Nice.
up. My
Aw.
son just woke up from his nap.
Hi.
I'm talking to Miss Dixie, okay? So basically I found both phases of that. You're gonna have to move out, baby, so I could see her. Both phases of that, and I ended up giving up on both of those homes and not purchasing them. I could only purchase one at the time, like
Mhm.
barely. But I put it off because I realized that I needed to make certain things in my own family a priority for that year.
Sure.
The immediate need of my friends ended up changing because you're giving kisses because she was able to find a place in another county. All that to
Okay.
say, I prayed that if God wanted me to do it, um, okay, that's enough. Thank you. Thank you for giving kisses. If son, I said that's enough. Thank you. You can give me some kisses. I said, if God, if you want me to do this, please bring it back to me. And honestly, Dixie, I did not have a lot of faith for that.
Sure.
But what's interesting is about 2 weeks or this past month, both of those homes came back on the market. Unbelievable.
Huh.
Yeah. One had been flipped and all of the work that I would have done to it and more was done. And the other one, hey, let me see her face. I'm gonna probably pause it in a second. To get him set up with something. But in another, the other one, which was actually a couple got it. It was been their forever home, but something came up with their family.
Oh.
So it was basically that because you will fall. I think I'm gonna pause it for a second because
Okay. All right.
so basically that just showed me that God could bring it back to me if that was for me in the ministry. And it helped to clarify and calm me that God could also provide other things like the funds that I need. And I knew that. I mean, God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. So if this is something that's coming from his heart, not just mine, he's put the desire in my heart since I was a child. First time I wrote it down with 4th grade that I wanted to have an orphanage. And I always envisioned that overseas.
Mhm.
Not necessarily here, but I always had this picture of a really big table with a ton of kids and, mostly kids that didn't have a family. But what I learned from my time at the children's home was this: we poured tons of time and blood, sweat, tears into those children, and not a second of it wasted.
Sure.
Wrong. I'm still close to many of them now who are adults and some of them have families. But and God willing, they're going to break some of the generational curses. But you can't truly help children that you want to help their and for
Yeah.
particularly the women. Um, and I very passionate help the moms because we saw so many go back.
Ah.
All right. So what that just showed me was that God can do whatever he wants. He put this in my heart. There was um this desire from a young age uh, and this picture of children table. But what as that dream has been refined, I realized that in helping the parents who actually want to be helped, because I don't have an interest in enabling anyone. But many do want an opportunity to, and in helping them, you can truly help the children and break, just curses and
Mhm.
move forward, not just for this family, but for many families in the future. That's my I don't really have an interest to do it on a huge scale, especially at the beginning. God's word says, "Don't despise the day of small things." Really
Mhm.
want it small. I want it deep and not, with a small group instead of go wide and be shallow. Um, Looking at mentorship for women on all, so they're spiritual mentors, physical mentors, our body. We are body, soul, mind, spirit entities. We need to know how to feed our bodies and to exercise. And many of us don't know how to do that. And I mean, I'm still learning all of that, and how that impacts your spirit and your mood and your going forward with beating things like anxiety and depression. Are you
Mhm.
are you are you taking care of your body? Are you feeding it well? And all these things. So I've really I'm really looking to see these women empowered in every portion who what makes what makes them, and things that I get excited about is, again, helping women find out what they're passionate about and helping them go through their ideas and weed out things that they're not passionate about. What I'm really passionate about, which of those things can we monetize to help them become more financially independent? Because I believe that almost everyone has at least one big side hustle in her. And I believe that women, most women can be an entrepreneur. And yeah, there's some that maybe would feel more comfortable as an employee, but a lot of times if you're trying to heal, you need a job that really can be very flexible. You can have
Yes.
with you. You can almost go on autopilot for the first year of healing and maybe do something like very simple, like cleaning. And you
Mhm.
can go on autopilot and have, what you learn to do it well. You can have sermons playing or meditations or worship music, and you can have your, especially cleaning my Airbnb, to welcome another guest in the future. That's part of my business. Airbnbs that can be money makers for the safe home. I really
Oh, yeah.
want a multitude of businesses that the women can pick from that do their unique giftings, and that can really fund the the safe home largely. We'll also have um, more profit that will kind of hold hands loosely, but I don't want her dependent solely on money from the um, legally small, small business really can change things for women, and that's part of what they're hoping.
Okay.
So we were just talking a little bit about my desire for the nonprofit to hold hands loosely with my missional business, the Humble Peacock. The home will likely be called Hope Haven or Hope Harbor. So if you have a
Mhm.
favorite, let me know. And what we're doing right now to use creativity to prevent trafficking and also help trafficking survivors is basically taking the fair trade pieces that I have and marketing and selling them online and also in my bus. So I bought a bus in 2021. It's a short bus, and it's partially converted into like a RV. So the goal is to take it to like vendor events, and that I can actually sleep in it. And I'm looking for an enclosed trailer to take the things, all the things behind me. Right now, they're all in the bus, but the hope is it's a little cramped. So the goal is to get an enclosed trailer, and but I've always loved schoolies, which that's what it's called when you make an RV from a bus.
Uh-huh.
And the Humble Peacock is my business name. Not me, but the artisans who are beautiful, and but often rising out of humble situations, making beautiful products, and also realizing their own worth and their feathers, in the right kind of pride coming out, and them realizing that they have so much to offer the world and themselves, and being the
Yeah.
heroes of their own stories in that way. So what's been cool is that I've been realizing that the possibilities are endless in regards to what I can do with this, because the Humble Peacock will likely be my overarching business, and then there will be the Humble Peacock's mobile store, which is the main thing that I'm doing. But then hopefully there'll be the Humble Peacock Airbnb, the Humble Peacock salon, because I like to have a salon for women of the
Ah.
community to come in and be transformed, and also hopefully women who will need a job will can find a job either in massage or doing something with skin or nails or hair cutting. It's an easy trade, not easy, but a good trade to learn quickly and to be
Mhm.
able to make money for yourself. Um, with that, the women would also have an opportunity to manage an Airbnb, to clean it, to manage it online, learn social media, different things with social media and managing that, or they could work in the mobile store, or my passion is to help them find their passion
Mhm.
and then to monetize that. So what's been cool is being able to add to my fair trade all of the things that I like to thrift. And I love thrifting. I love finding pieces that are really fun, and also showing them in the store. And I like to use what I have to work on design.
Mhm.
And I love recycling pieces that could be used in a certain way, in my display. So the other day I found like a coral reef kind of thing, and
Oh, wow.
I'm using the coral like to put my rings on there, like the rings that I found. And I like to think outside the box with things like that, to hang a chair up and then hang something from the chair. Um, because you could put it bolted to a wall, that kind of thing. Different ideas for displays, and just using what you have. And um, I have found recently a bunch of keys, old keys. I have a tattoo. Don't tell my mother. No, I have it. Mom, if you're watching, I have a tattoo. No, it's an old key, and it has the word "Living Hope" in it from Second Peter.
Oh,
And
love that.
old keys have always been very symbolic to me, and I love the look of them. So I'm using old keys to start making jewelry.
Mhm.
And it's cool because I was doing it like before Trades of Hope came out, and I love that. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, so earrings and necklaces, also spoons, and trying to make them into rings, and also like stamping words like hope and joy and stuff onto them. I love books and older books that might be thrown out. You can um, do things with cutting the pages and make really cool designs, and also using them to Mod Podge old furniture. Uh, I'm just throwing ideas out there we're working with, but it's really fun to see what can you recycle for new use. And Trades of Hope does that, and I love that concept of things that are started being having life, and that's what we see with our artisans, right? Like, and
Mhm.
the women that I'll be working with, and that I am working with, because I have a few families who have kind of found and are either living in the woods or about to be homeless, and they all are so creative
Yeah.
with what they come up with. And it's so exciting to me to be able to partner with people who really want to bring beauty to this world despite really hard circumstances. And just the other day, I have to tell you this. Just the other day, I met up with a woman who I went there because she has a car in the front of her yard that's for sale, and I've been thinking about another side hustle of driving people to the airport for extra.
Oh.
Uh,
Hmm.
and I I went to look at the car she had, and we started talking. And she actually makes the earrings that I'm wearing.
Oh, those are awesome.
Yeah, and also a couple of the bracelets. And we were talking, and I said, you need to market these, and I will help you do it, because she's like, I just have them, and I'm not marketing them. And I said, well, come with me to some vendor events. Let's figure it out. And she actually has had a heart for ministry, and a lot of things have happened that have deterred her from that in her own
Huh.
personal life. And I'm so excited to get to know her. She's such a blessing. I hope that you guys get to see her, because we just were like brainstorming ideas, and she wants to call, like I said, why not, how about the lotus, because she has a tattoo of the lotus and it means a lot to her.
Yeah.
Ever knew that the lotus like blooms in the darkness at nighttime, and it blooms out of like mud. And I think you
Hmm.
have such a cool name right there. Why don't you be the lotus blossom, or the like lotus blossoms. And so watch for her on Instagram,
Love
because she's coming
that.
at you quick, girls. And I'm so grateful for this, because every day as I wake up and I've really decided to be passionate about this and move forward, um every day God is introducing me to new people who want to help, and have gifting to help.
Oh, yeah.
It's been so amazing, the connections. I went to I'll just tell you this part. A friend, I do some theater, and a friend said, hey, you should come sing at our church sometime. I was like, oh dear. So I just went to go see their church. I wasn't thinking I was going to sing that day, but one of their singers was like had a sore throat, and they're like, do you want to sing? And I was like, what's your set? And I'm like, I don't know all the songs, and my voice was kind of hoarse like this, but we had a blast, and it was really beautiful. But I tell you that because I got to meet a Italian gentleman who he's from Italy. His name is Signor Aldo, and Signor, we're talking, and he ministers to. He's basically an evangelist in Africa.
Oh,
So he
wow.
and I now are like dreaming up ways that we can make money for trafficking victims and the widows and orphans in Africa, um, through my business. So
Right.
we're flipping furniture, we're getting donations and seeing what we can do, and we're coming up with probably like a spaghetti night, an auction night, where everybody dresses up. Probably like I would love to do like a gown night, and like maybe do a Gatsby theme,
Would be
or
fun.
uh, also I would love to have another night that is with all of the dresses from Francis and Benedict, the skirts and dresses, and we do like a runway, and auction some of those off. And I'd love to style people to wear what they're going to wear that night, including jewelry from all over the world. And
That's a cool idea.
it's going to be so much fun. And like I said, the possibilities are endless. So
Hmm.
what I would challenge your listeners is, what gifts has God given you? If you don't know, go ask your friends. Go ask your family. They could probably list off, like at least five off the top of their head. And then ask yourself, am I using those gifts and talents for the Lord? That's, I mean, not even specifically for trafficking victims, but am I using it for the Lord? Am I building his kingdom, or am I building my own? That's
Yeah.
question number one. And then from there, if you do have a heart to help others, consider this cause, because this cause is decimating the country. It is decimating in the form of porn and
Hmm.
the connection. porn has to trafficking. That's definitely another talk I could give,
Yeah.
because that it is, it is such an insidious form of sex trafficking in the country.
Hmm.
So consider how you can help. One of the things I was thinking of about 3 months ago, before I really started to look for my safe home, was, you know what, Leah, you want everything perfect, you want to have everything lined, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Shut up! Like in my head, I was just like, shut up! Like I was like, I could tonight. I could go down to Orlando. I could find, and this might be a little edgy for some people, but I could find a topless bar, and I could go in there. In like I could do this because I don't have that issue. In my would encourage somebody who has that kind of issue in their past, but I could go in there and I could form a relationship, a connect with one of the workers in that bar, and give her a piece of Trace the Pope jewelry, something from my collection, as just saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. I know you about you. And if you ever find it working for you, I have some other options." And that time, I can do
Okay.
that tomorrow. So that's something that I could do this weekend. You know, I've heard, I don't know how true this is. I need to look into it, but I've heard that sometimes the when you see just the words massage on the side of on a business front, often if there's nothing else in the doors are, kind of blocked off and you can't see inside. Often it can be a front for sex trafficking, or something else happening behind those doors. And all I'm saying is we can make connections with people
Yeah.
if we want to, and those connections happen slowly, but they have to start somewhere, and they have to start with you just deciding, this is who I want to be, and this is what I want to be doing 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Like, you made a decision, and I want to hear that story another time, to start this. Let's do this. Let's do bringfreedom.org. Let's bring people into this and give them the opportunity to speak and to share, to dream, and to have awareness. And you just did it, and you're doing it, and that's so cool, because your brain kind of watches you, and it registers, oh, you're doing this, and okay, maybe you can do it. And then,
Yes.
if not to mention the fact that God continues to give you strength as you step out in faith. And I have no idea, like, what this will come to, if or where it will lead. I'm not really interested in, like, something huge. I really want something that's small and deep, and that has impact for generations. But maybe he's just doing something in my heart, and maybe that's the point. But it has helped me and blessed me, since I've started going out and meeting homeless in my community and dropping off, like, what I can, dropping off food, or blankets or coffee, and just talking to them, like, see who's change. Um, it's done something in my heart, and my son is watching too, and that's important to me, that my son knows that God wants him to use his unique gifts and callings to make a difference in the world, in whatever way he can. And maybe he'll be an astrophysicist. Maybe he'll do his firefighter thing, because that's what he wants to do right now. Maybe he'll join Spider-Man. But he can use his gifts to, even now, to bless, like, when he, once I vetted somebody and have done background checks, and I also have some men coming with me sometimes, you know he comes with me too once I vet them, and he's a blessing to them, and they are often a blessing to him, because our conceptions around the homeless specifically are often all wrong.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
We have no idea how quickly that somebody can fall into a situation that is very hard to get out of. And most of us have churches and families who would never let us get that far into that situation. Um, and most people don't have those things. We have no idea what we have, until we notice how other people can lose those things so quickly. Even, a lot of people have degrees. They have had good jobs.
Mhm.
So us for having, those conceptions,
Yeah.
and let's move forward with a renewed hope to bring that hope to the world in whatever form that God puts on our heart to do, and get creative with it. Get outside of your little head of oh, well, I'm trained as an English teacher, so does that mean that I can only write poetry and teach writing? And I love that, and maybe I will use that. Maybe get back online and start tutoring, and maybe I'll use it to make money towards the safe house. Maybe I'll use it for the children, or for those who need to get their GED when they're coming out of a situation and going into a new season in their life. But just don't put yourself or God into a box. That's the message I want to say. That it's so exciting once you step out and say, God, use me how you want to use me. Help me get creative today. Help me follow you as you direct my steps, and help me trust that you're going to make a way if you put this on my heart. And that's what I want to encourage you in, first of all, Dixie, that you've done that. You're a great example of that. You embody that really, really well. And thank you for thinking of me to be able to share.
Yeah.
I really hope one day you get to come see the bus, and
Yeah, me too. It's
and
gonna be fun. I wanted to ask just a couple questions.
yeah,
Um, I love how you combine the fair trade items with thrifted items, and how this is all kind of coming together with one vision to help people, not just internationally with the fair trade community, but in your own backyard,
yeah.
so to speak. And I wanted to ask, what fair trade companies are you connected with besides Trades of Hope?
Okay, so I'm connected with Francis and Benedict, and their skirts from Togo, Africa. They kind of help me with understanding that you can have a missional business and a nonprofit. They have both,
Mhm. Yeah.
and that's really cool and very unique. And I love that. And I love that they understand how do you say, they understand how small business changes things for people around the world here and in
Mhm.
other countries, and how to partner together. And then they also use the nonprofit. People just want to donate. Sometimes people just want to donate,
Yeah.
and you can still use that to do good in the world, as long as your donations don't hurt the country that you are working with, or the people that you're working with. And that's something that I really work hard to make sure that in giving, very careful to just not just give like almost everything in or I don't know what I want to call it all, but the Humble Peacock at Hope Haven Home. I don't want to ever overgive it
Mhm.
without connecting it to some sort of pay, like pay in for the person. Maybe that's the wrong word, but basically, I want them to have that pay in to value it more, and
Right.
often that's what they want to. They don't want the handout anyway. So I'm also connected to Noonday,
Okay.
especially with like parties to get hostess rewards, and then to be able to share that option with people, because they have some really beautiful pieces as well that are a little bit different than Trades of Hope in the sense of clothes.
Mhm.
Worked with Seiko before it merged with Noonday,
Yeah.
and because I was really, really in love with their ribbon sandals.
Oh, I wear mine a lot. I wear my ribbon sandals, and I've never like switched out the ribbons. And
Dude,
so my black ribbons are actually starting to wear out. And I'm
right.
like, oh no.
couple years. Don't worry, I got you, girl. So, but it's so cool because like that's an example of creativity, right?
Mhm.
Like I love Liz, and I love that Liz with Seiko, she had this commitment to like figure out how can I help these girls get to college, and she started with
Yeah.
3 under a mango tree.
Yeah.
And what that has blossomed into is so amazing. And her story, if you haven't read her book, is incredible. Beginner's pluck versus beginner's luck, and
Yeah.
really, that really inspires you to just get started. Listen,
Yes.
just whatever God has put on your heart, in little tiny steps, just stinking get started.
Yeah.
Because
Take messy action.
yes, start because you should have started yesterday, most likely.
Yeah.
Bless you as you just take little steps. You don't have to see the way in front of you. I had no idea what it was going to look like. Even, I've been doing part of the Humble Peacock for a long time, for like at least a year and a half. But here and there, but I was working at my son's preschool, and I was so crazy busy that I wasn't able to give it a lot of time. But recently, I got him out of that school, got him into a Christian school, and it's given me those hours of 9:30 to 11:45. He's in school, and I concentrate on my house mostly and some business, and then in the afternoon when he's sleeping, I do my business, and then afternoons after that we have a little adventure with us playing, and then we often on certain days get to do some like flea market, or we're going to be doing the lot across the street so he can just be playing. And
Yeah.
some days, like I said, we visit the homeless. So I just encourage you, just get started and know that God bless you in the midst of the crazy and the mess and
Mhm.
the what am I doing as you figure it out.
Yeah.
And just surround yourself with people who value that creativity, and know that a lot of times it's not going to be your friends or family, because they're going to be like, what in the world are
What are
you
you doing?
might not have any idea of your vision. They probably won't understand. Think about Moses. His family didn't understand, like at the beginning, with his Pharaoh family. But your true encouragers are gonna get behind you when they need to in the right time. Even
Yeah.
Jesus had some of his disciples say, no, this is not the plan, Lord. No, you doing this sacrifice. No, and at
Yeah.
times he had to say, get behind me, Satan. I'm not encouraging you to say that to your family. That will not win your friends or influence people. But I'm saying that sometimes, if you need to, if you're starting something new, maybe just block a couple of family members who are not going to be very supportive. Go do what God has told you to do with a full heart and with joy that is overflowing.
That's
And
good.
so that's what I got to say today. And thank you
That's good.
for giving me that opportunity, Dixie.
Ah, thank you,
Yeah,
Leah.
love your heart. Sorry that our
I
sorry that
think it came together. I
yeah,
really appreciate you.
do another one in the future when we have better reception. Maybe when we're in
Yeah,
person, that would be a lot of
that
fun.
would be good. All
Yeah.
right.
All right. Much love. Bye,
Have a good
guys.
one.
Bye.
Hi. So, what do you guys think? Leah is in the chat if anybody has questions, and your viewing sheet wanted you guys to vote whether you like Hope Haven or Hope Harbor for the safe home that she is developing.
Mhm.
And even if you're watching this on the replay, pick your choice. I think
Yeah.
Zona and I agreed we liked Hope Haven better, but
Yeah.
we are interested in any feedback.
Yeah.
And it was so great to have Leah on. And interestingly, because I was like, is there weather coming in with the recording issues we were having? They actually had a tornado in the middle of the night. So yeah, there was definitely weather coming in. So
Yeah.
I was just glad it came together pretty well. We had to pause and start a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
I just love her. She's awesome. And yeah, I am looking forward to seeing how things develop for her and her business, and also for her Hope Home that she is working toward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have a pic, drop it in the chat and we will get that back to Leah on the wrong computer. Yeah, okay, so
Technology.
we have two open. So I wanted to mention the book that she was just talking about because
Make some space for you.
I was actually on the launch team for Beginner's Pluck. Here it is. So this copy is pretty much new because I read it on the digital galley first. So, but it's awesome if you're starting something new, or if you have a dream to start something new. This book is so great. It's not just about her and her journey starting Seiko. It really is kind of a beginner's guide to doing the things and embracing your average and just sticking with it and grabbing the opportunities when they come. When I first started reading this, and this was a few years ago when it came out, I was just at the kind of the first chapter. Actually, this is in the introduction, and when I read this, I'm like, oh, this is definitely for me. It says, you can use the principles of Beginner's Pluck to build a life of purpose and impact while raising nonprofit funds and while raising teenagers. I'm like, oh, that was me. And it's still me now because I have a bunch of kids. So I still have teenagers. Yeah. But yeah, Beginner's Pluck by Liz Forkin Bohannon is awesome and really goes in line with what we're talking about this weekend. Using your creativity, using the resources you already have, using your own brains and grit, and just building that life of purpose, which I love. I wanted to highlight a few more books, resources for you guys. Recently, Seiko merged with Noonday.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's kind of all called Noonday now, but they have a lot of the Seiko stuff with like the ribbon sandals we were talking about, which I wore them last night. They're my favorite. And living in Florida, I wear them a lot. Anytime I can wear open toe, I'm wearing those. So
I can actually attest to that.
Yeah,
She does wear them all the time. And I was like, I've never even seen shoes like that.
They're so fun, and you can like switch out the ribbons with different colors and different fabrics and stuff.
They go with everything.
They do. They go with everything. So far, I just have left the black ones in. So neither of us.
I was like, neither one of us are selling anything, but they're really effectively like versatile.
Yeah, they are. And so if you're interested, contact Leah. She sells them, obviously. I have a few other friends that work with Noonday, so that was really fun. Jessica Honegger started Noonday, and she came out with this book, Imperfect Courage, about 10 years ago. I was working at Barnes & Noble, and I saw her book. I'm like, but I didn't read. I didn't start reading it until recently, and so that's another good one. She's talking about her journey and how it's really inspiring to know that we can all do something. We can use our own creativity, and it's great. And the subtitle on that is "Live a Life of Purpose While Leaving Comfort and Going Scared." Yes. So that's another take messy action. Recently, Gretchen Hudskins, who is one of the founders of Trades of Hope, since we talk about Trades of Hope, she came out with her book, Our Voices Rising. And I think for her, she took a while to come out with the book because she didn't feel like that was like in her wheelhouse or in her expertise as far as writing. But it is powerful how she shares the story of, she comes from a nonprofit background, just wanting to help kids in Haiti, and built this fair trade missional business called Trades of Hope. So I definitely recommend Our Voices Rising, and I'm kind of hoping to get Gretchen on one of our future trainings. So I'm going to let her share more more of that.
Mhm.
But Our Voice is Rising also. Kisses from Katie. Now this book has been out for quite a while, and it's almost like a classic right now.
Ooh.
Oh, cool, Leah. I'll
Sorry.
pop that up so everybody can see that. And I'm touching the wrong
Jinx.
computer. Oh,
That's funny.
So yeah, the founder of Frances Benedict coming out with the book too. I am a book girl.
I am too.
know, And
Not
So
usually
I
a
love-
physical book. The audio
she does
book, though.
audiobooks. I do physical, occasionally digital, but I'm like, sometimes audiobook is great because you actually get the author's voice. So you get
Yes.
some of the emotion and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
Kisses from Katie is great and written by Katie Davis at the time. She's married now, Katie Davis Majors, and I know she has 3 books out now, and I think she's working on a 4th.
Wow.
But this one is kind of the story of how she visited Uganda and started an artisan group there. But it wasn't just like for that. It was to effect change in their community. And she really became a part of the community and ended up adopting a lot of orphans in that area. So she has a powerful story, but I do recommend Kisses from Katie because you'll kind of get the beginning story from her. Amazema is the name of that group. And my husband's book, Land of the Free, which is a little bit different, but also using your creativity to affect the change that you want to see. I mean, had several people asking him to write a book that would be a prayer guide to combat trafficking. And when he was like, okay, so things had not lined up for us like we thought they were going to.
Right.
So he's like, okay, Lord, what am I supposed to do? So he settled down to write the prayer guide, but then he realized most people didn't even know anything about human trafficking in America. They thought it was all overseas and it wasn't an issue for us. And so this is pretty much a complete guide to human trafficking in America. Now this book is about 12 years old now, so some things are a little bit outdated, but the prayer guide sections is all biblical, and it is to specifically target different arenas. So I highly recommend Nick Nusso's book. I think you put it under Nicholas Canuso.
There's not an audiobook yet.
No audiobook yet. Oh, I might have to. I don't know if I can have a voice for that
nudge, long. Nudge, wink, wink.
But it was Land of the Free, Human Trafficking in America and Solutions to End It, is the subtitle. And it really was a creative endeavor, not just for him, but also for me, because I got to edit, and it was a huge, long process, which I was not prepared to do. But we did it, and we got it done, and we got it out there. It's self-published, so it was totally like, okay, God, this is your thing. So yes, and it's on Amazon, so anybody can look. And I just found this was on my bookshelf, and I haven't even really looked at it yet. I think I picked it up, thinking it'd be good for my kids. I forgot this mirrors, so I'll read the title. It's called The Design Activist Handbook: How to Change the World, or at least your part of it, with socially conscious design. And it has a lot of different artists and designers and kind of what they do in their communities to have change. So I recommend that. Also, it's by Noah Scalin and Michelle Tott. And I will try to put all these in the chat feeder so everybody can see it. But I was like, well, that might be fun to share. I had a couple more, but couldn't put my hands on them. But those are a few resources for you book people to inspire you, but also to just see how different people from different backgrounds use their talents and gifts and just like what they have around them to affect change in their community and around the world.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hand the floor over to Zona to share her teachings, and I'll pop back on for a wrap up. I'll be sharing at 2 after Antonio Canuso is on session 3.
Yeah, very exciting.
Great day, guys.
Awesome. So essentially what I wanted to share, you know, I feel like there's always these things in season where you're going, "Oh, Lord, what are you saying? What is it that you want people to hear or to know right now that's timely and that you're doing in this season, not necessarily just the future, but also like right now that people can actually put into action." And part of the Creating Confidence Challenge, you know, originally I was like, Dixie, I don't even remember what we had the idea behind this title. And the Lord was just kind of reminding me of some of those things where um, it was a journey for me, even as somebody with lived experience, to be able to feel confident enough to say, I too have lived experience and I do have perspective, and that perspective can help others to direct their programs or to respond to what's actually happening in the world around them right now, or some of those things. And I had lived experience. So while you know, I've been in the nonprofit world for a long time, and there's been this major push, especially at the end of the 2010s, to really incorporate people with lived experience and their voice and their feedback into program development, into like design in different ways. And all of those things are really good in theory. But what they don't tell you is how to actually enable people to share their voice and how to receive their feedback, right? So it has been an interesting journey where I started out, my goal after getting out of my own trafficking was to be unseen. I hoped with all of my heart that I just wouldn't draw notice at all, and that if I didn't draw notice, then I wouldn't be quote unquote in trouble, if that makes any sense. And so I did it that I could to support whoever the leadership was, as long as I got to be visible. And that worked for a long time because there's a lot of development, identity development. There's a lot of honing, refining skills and abilities, personality, talent, you know, healing, all of those things that come from coming under somebody else's vision and being a support system and doing the work, right? Like we work a lot of things out. That's like even with our spiritual gifts, right? None of those things just start. They have to be in process of something. So I say that to say it really is a unique experience to go from somebody who wanted to be absolutely invisible to now having multiple streams of things that I'm working on, one of which is Bring Freedom. And Bring Freedom was not an overnight thing that came up. It was years of working behind the scenes and fighting trafficking. It was learning about fair trade things, because even though I had been trafficked, I didn't know anything about fair trade products. I didn't know that there were, I mean, to a certain extent, you know, I'd been in other countries and I did know that there were people that were exploited, but I didn't understand the relationship to that to what I was purchasing in America. There were pieces of things like, because we didn't talk about it as trafficking, we didn't say to people, oh, this is what trafficking is. We had this perspective in my community of trafficking being in Thailand and the red light districts in Amsterdam, and, you know, kids that had gotten kidnapped or things like that. So I never had the perspective from my own life that said, you know, there are people just like me who are forced during the day to act as if nothing is wrong, to present themselves or promote themselves as somebody who is competent and capable and able to maintain all of their daily requirements. And at night, they're having to deal with these atrocious things, being trafficked, being exploited, sometimes by people that are supposed to be safe, sometimes by people that are known to not be safe, but have access to them for some reason. And yet there's not a free pass when they go back into society to process that trauma, to deal with the emotions of it. So I was seeing like a splatter shot of all these different areas, and the program development, the actual program execution, from one side being very technical and very logical and very straightforward. And this is the goal. And this is how you know if we're going to be a good fit for somebody. And this is, these are the steps to get to the end result. And that's how you work the program. And then on the other side, seeing how we have more opportunities today than we ever imagined when I was a kid. And I've watched the Lord kind of bring all of those pieces together very uniquely. And I'm seeing that more and more, even with like coaching clients that I have, even with, because I do Christian Influencer Inspired does Christian coaching and releasing trauma. And those two areas, a lot of times we start to delve into what is your identity? Where is your identity founded? What are natural talents and abilities that you have that really lean into those natural tendencies that you have developed over your lifetime? And then also including skills that you've developed, right? So hopefully as you're growing, as you're learning, as you're developing, you have been developing skills, whether that's in the workforce, whether that's at home, whether that's in your church or volunteering or in the community somewhere. Maybe you have really great hobbies that you've been bringing forth. But as you move forward in those things, what I'm finding is that the Lord is taking all of those pieces and he's marrying them together with the personality that he created in you when you were formed in your mother's womb, to really begin to birth unique responses to things that are coming up, whether that's food insecurity, whether that's job insecurity, whether that's housing insecurity, whether that is, relationship insecurities, because we are going to need a whole new arsenal of solutions for this day and age and going forward than we ever needed before. And they will be uniquely birthed out of the people that are learning and growing and really starting to explore where those natural talents, their personality, and their learned skills come together with their identity for them to be an influence in the world at some point. Now, I do believe that you can be an influence in the world. If the Lord calls you to be a at-home mom and to take care of your kids, that is a calling. That is a place of influence that you've been put in. And sometimes we don't think of it that way. Like I wouldn't say that most people come and go, I feel really called to marriage, and that my marriage is my calling, and it's my calling to serve my spouse, or my calling to serve, their parents, or to serve my parents, or things like that as a family. But it is a calling, and that is a place of influence, even if it is for that one spouse, or their parents or siblings, or those different things, right? Same thing with motherhood, but it's the same thing in the workforce. It's the same thing in your church. And when you start to build those pieces out together, you start to get a better picture of things that the Lord is designing through you and in partnership with him that he's never designed that way before. So even if someone else is doing a missional business that looks similar to yours, or similar to an idea that you have, the way that they're going to do it is going to be different based on their personality, based on life experiences, based on the level of healing that they're at, based on the area that they're in. All of those things kind of come together to give different flavor, to give different perspective, to give different hues. And I'm watching the Lord provide answers to things that we can't think up on our own right around us. So, for those of you that would say that you're not an influencer, I would definitely say you are. If you have identity, then you have purpose and you are an influencer. And that doesn't matter if your heart and your soul is to influence one person or if your heart and your soul is to influence the entire world. And it doesn't have to qualify as being a certain level of famous, internet famous, TikTok famous, any of those things, because not everyone is called to be at those levels of things. But everyone is called to make an impact somewhere. We are interdependent people, not codependent. Very carefully, but interdependent people that are made to work in conjunction with others in order to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. So if you need help with that, if you need help releasing trauma, I do that. You can find me on christianinfluencerinspired.com. But part of the thing that I started addressing was I found that there were a lot of people that didn't understand how their mental health was playing into them showing up in their identity or them showing up in their influence, or they thought that their identity was their influence. And you see people that crumble because they think they are the persona of success in whatever area they've received that success. And that was what defines them. And what I found is that when we root ourselves deeply in Jesus, and he gets the glory, that the work flows out of us as an extension of that identity, not as a place of being the identity. It's overflow. It's not the be all end all. And you find people that, out of the overflow, like even Dixie was talking about Katie. This book was the overflow of her actually doing something. This book was the overflow of her natural life and showing up in her gifting. And I'm sure there was a point in time where her family was like, are you sure that's what you're supposed to do? That seems crazy. Well, most good ideas seem crazy at the time. But I do have, but I will tell you this, for my life, if you would have asked me when I was 20, if I would ever coach people, I would have said, there's no way in the world that I would ever know enough to feel confident enough to help somebody else get traction or to build their project out or to develop their business or whatever. And what I found is as I rely on the Lord, he ties those pieces together to go, oh, well, they just need this and this. Wow, I never thought that was possible, And that's not about me. That's about being in right relationship. And that's about, being open to hearing and to seeing how the Lord has uniquely created a person to live and to flourish in their identity. And for that to become something that inspires others, that brings hope, that sets captives free. And bring freedom wouldn't even be a possibility without, that dream that the Lord placed in my heart. I'm going to have to plug in real quick. Hold on. I was like, I can't find the cord. Before I was ready, the Lord knew and had a plan for all of the things that had happened in my life, to work those things together, to tie those together, to bring them for good. But what it started like for me was being in the middle of being trafficked as a kid, and where I was supposed to be safe and I wasn't safe, and having the Lord give me that promise of, I'm going to use this in your life so that you can set people free. And I thought that would look like something similar to a domestic violence shelter, because it was the only concept I had of, it must be working with the homeless, which I wasn't homeless at the time. But, our brains come up with really interesting ideas based on what we know, right? So I didn't know that eventually that would be, I was in a conference many years after that, and I had finally started the work with fighting trafficking, and I hadn't even tied together yet that I was being trafficked. Okay, like that was how crazy, like your brain can protect you from things. um, that I hadn't even identified for myself. Oh yeah, I that happened to me. I was that person. But they had asked me, they're like, what would you say your biggest dreams are? And I was like, I want to be a job creator and I want to develop affordable housing. And they're like, how would you do that? And I was like, I have no idea. um, so when they're talking about like, oh, well, you have to have a plan. I was like, I have no plan. I have no plan. I've never done this before. I don't know how it works. I can't even imagine the next step to take right now from where I'm at. I am the furthest away from possibly being somebody that could do that. But I do know that the Lord has a plan for families. I do know that He's shown me these dreams of how He's going to birth family businesses, and those family businesses are going to be job creators, and they're going to stabilize communities, and they're going to redo communities that have been basically left for dead. And I was like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but that's the thing that I see. And what I'm finding now is, as Leah had mentioned, everything is kind of like spaghetti. It is all like spaghetti because you very rarely find somebody who's homeless that doesn't have food insecurity or job insecurity or obviously housing insecurity or some sort of relational insecurity, right? And we had this idea of what homelessness looked like in the world. And what I'm finding where I live in Florida is that most people are asset limited, income restricted, fully employed. They're called Alice families. And those are the ones that are dealing with being afraid of homelessness because they've been priced out of rentals. They've been priced out of buying their own home. Some of them are being priced out of paying for the electricity for their homes right now. And this is not unique to Florida. This is happening all across the country. But those are the types of situations that make people ripe for trafficking. So I'm looking at this from the opposite side and going, okay, I believe that the Lord has strategy, purpose, and a plan for those of us to create solutions in order to stabilize communities. And I'm expecting that to be birthed out of this creating confidence challenge. Now, you want to go back to where I wanted to be invisible, right? And I started all the behind the scenes things and learning, tech stuff and, learning to just be disciplined and write. Trust me, if the only thing you learn is to be disciplined and to be consistent, you will show up and do amazing things, because most people don't end up doing amazing things because they quit. I'm going to say that again for those of you that needed to hear that. Most of us don't end up doing amazing things because we quit. Right? So, one of the things that the Lord had asked me to do was to post a selfie every day. And I was like, that cannot be you, Lord. There is no way. Everything about that seems literally prideful, right? And what He did over time is He actually shared with me, He goes, everyone else is already looking at your face. You're the only one that's not used to looking at your face. I was like, huh, wow, I really did build that up to be something it wasn't, didn't I? And I think we do that in our lives, right? Like, oh, I would need to look a certain way. I would need to act a certain way. I need to have a certain level of degree or experience or somebody that says I'm qualified enough to have a voice, or opens the door for me to be able to speak into a situation, or opens a door for me able to do a ministry or to write a book or to any of those things. And what I'm telling you is this: if God says you're supposed to do it, you have the only person that you will ever need to tell you that you're supposed to do something, telling you to do something. I'm going to let that sink in. There's not another person in the world that can open a door bigger for you than when the Lord says, it's time. It's time to do this thing. And if we took the things as seriously as he does, as the callings that they are on our lives, then I think we would see, marriages restored, and we would see, houses be safe places again for kids. And we would see people that would come out of houselessness into stabilized homes that are safe communities. And I think we have that in us, right? So what I'm encouraging you to say is, if you've been the person that has said, I could never have my own business, I'm not a business person, I would ask you, why is it that you're so opposed to it? And what could the Lord do through your business if you actually gave it to him? Or maybe take a look at some of the excuses that you have. Maybe your thing that you're supposed to do is to teach preschool. Maybe the thing that you're supposed to do is to write books from the privacy of your own home and just be dedicated and be consistent and write, every week and continue to put those words out. A lot of times we disqualify ourselves. We decide that there's some reason that we're not enough. And we're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And our brain goes, you're right. We're not qualified enough. We do need somebody else to tell us that we're enough or important, or that what we have to say is important, or any of those things. But when you're dealing with stuff that's never been done before, you're not going to find social proof. You're not going to find somebody else to pattern yourself off of, because you're supposed to be blazing a trail. And when you're a pioneer, you're going to do things and it's going to be hard. And you're going to be like, I did not sign up for this. This was not how I expected it to go. And then there's going to be somebody else that follows you on that trail that you made, that you blazed by being yourself and leaning into your giftings and trusting that the Lord was going to work all those things together as you continue to grow and build and design and develop in partnership with him. And they're going to do it faster. And you're going to be like, I don't know what I did wrong, but it took me so much longer than them to do that. And they're going to go, you said this was hard. This wasn't even that hard. What do you mean it's hard? And that's okay, because their journey is going to look a little bit different than yours. But maybe you are blazing that path for someone else to go further or similar to a location that you're at, or to do something that's similar to what you're doing. But they'll hit different people that are uniquely designed to be encountered by them and to have the solutions that they bring to the table. And when you start looking at all of that, it's all of us making these small impacts through intentional decisions, through living with purpose and having that foundation of purpose and identity, so that we can build and grow and develop those things. And that's how we change the world. It's one small thing at a time. It's not trying to be the biggest or the best or the loudest or the most visible or any of those things, especially not at the beginning. So I hope this is encouraging to you. I do have a podcast, Christian Influencer Inspired. If you're interested in listening to that, we'll be continuing season 5 of the Person with Lived Experience podcast. But I'll tell you this. If you would have asked me if I was going to be a podcaster 10 years ago, I would have told you were insane. I had no intention of ever being on any sort of video, on any sort of audio. I didn't want my picture taken. I would sometimes not tell people my name, because my name is very unique and it's findable. So the Lord can do whatever he wants to do in and through you. And the gifts and the talents that you have are irrevocable, but it takes partnership and it takes building community, and it takes being interdependent with those other people that are going to use their gifts and their talents, their own influence to begin to affect change one bite at a time. So I'm learning about all of the fair trade things, because even being an advocate for fighting trafficking, it's not an area I've been really good at, So I'm learning and I'm growing, I'm developing areas. But for myself, I found out that I had a natural talent for figuring out where people's issues were with their business so that they could grow and be successful, or connecting them to the solutions that they need, or connecting them to people that they need to be connected with in order to be effective. And when I looked at that from a Christian perspective, I was like, that doesn't even seem like a Jesus thing. It just seems like part of my personality. And yet, the Lord allowed that to be something that has helped businesses flourish and help people grow and develop and release trauma and start their own, purpose-based missional businesses, or things that I never could have even begin to believe would happen from my life. And I'm excited to see where that goes. So make sure you are listening to the Persons with Lived Experience podcast. There are some hard things to listen to. I would definitely challenge you, if there's something that offends you for some reason in somebody's story, to take note of that. And I had to take a pause from editing just because it's very heavy emotionally for me. There are still a lot of things that trigger me in some of those stories, even if it's just in part, because of my own experience. And I had to take a mental health break. But even being at a healthy enough place now to know it's okay to take a mental health break, and it's okay to come back to something later and to process and to take the time to do what you need to do in order to be healthy spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, and not just work because you're supposed to work, is a huge difference in my life. And I really like it because it kind of takes away that hustle culture. And it's okay. The Lord works in seasons. We work in seasons. We're designed to be people in season. And that means that there's seasons for growth and development, and there's seasons for resting and refreshing and nourishing and all of those pieces. But if you would like to find, always look for our trainings on this bringfreedom.org. I think it's right there. You can see it. Because we have very unique things that we're doing teachings on, because we want everyone to understand how they can become an advocate and a partner to end human trafficking in our lifetime. And then if you're interested in more of the coaching side for what I do, that is christianinfluencerinspired.com. Yay!
Well, that was awesome. Thank you, Zona, for sharing this morning. Oh, you definitely had the cheers in it.
Yes.
And if you're watching this later, because we'll have the replay up for a few days, drop your thoughts and any questions you might have in the chat. Does anybody have any questions now? Let me see. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, well, Leah wanted to know.
That is strange.
Is it strange that she wanted to be invisible too?
I mean, I don't think so. But I will say this. Okay, so I'm a very extroverted person. I need a lot of people.
Yes.
However, most of the people that I know are introverted. Almost 100% of the people that I know are introverted. And they always say the same thing. Oh, well, you're just made that way because you're an extrovert. And I was like, no. These are skills I have developed to overcome my natural ability and desire to be invisible.
Yes. But I actually think Zona has a spiritual gift of I don't know what spiritual gift that would be. Maybe discernment.
Maybe.
I don't know. She has a gift of connecting with people, especially with introverts, I think, and getting them to open up and share all the things with her. And maybe she gets a little too TMI sometimes. She's probably like this, like sometimes like, why are they telling me this?
It's kind of true.
But she has this ability to get people to open up and just share their thoughts, which is a true gift.
Yeah.
And because she is naturally an extrovert, she can, engage. I know as an introvert, it's like cool when people tell me things, but I'm not always prepared to engage on all the things. I'm like, wow, that was interesting. But she helps people like kind of process through stuff. But definitely, I think part of it's your background is like, it's better if I'm invisible and not have too many people looking at me. But like the Lord showed you, like people are already looking.
Yeah.
Embrace that.
That's true.
Use it.
It's true.
I think that's powerful. And now I think it's different because some introverts are also performers.
Yeah.
So it's not that they want to be invisible.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like that's their natural. Well, it's their nature.
Mm-hmm.
So they can perform and be on stage and be in front of the cameras and all the things, but they need a lot of alone time afterwards.
Yes.
To recharge. And I think for Zona, she definitely thrives when she has people around. And if she goes quiet for too long, I know it's time to get her out of the house. It's time to go do things.
It's true.
It doesn't have to be like engaging with people. It can be in a coffee shop and stuff. So it's really a matter of, I think, just being obedient.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see a problem, an issue, do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just think, someone else will notice. Someone else will do something about that child who looks like he needs bathing or lunch or new clothes. It's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
So this has been great so far. I'm really looking forward to session 3 this afternoon at 2:00.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start session 3. We have Antonio Canuso from Myriad Visions Productions coming on, and this is going to be really interesting. I'm excited to hear him speak. I've heard him talk a lot. He is my oldest son. He can talk. He's his father's son.
Yes.
But I've not really heard him teach, so I'm excited to hear him talk. And I'm going to share a little bit about how Americans influence trafficking worldwide, and that also on both sides, bad and good. Mm-hmm. So we're going to explore a little bit of that, and we're going to have some fun fair trade swaps to celebrate Fair Trade Month, which is going on now.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It's going to be good.
Yes.
So, and that also comes partially from our personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as you learn more, you do more, kind of like how Erin was sharing last night. She's like, I'm by no means perfect on the all the fair trade fashion thing.
Yeah.
But it's a shifting your mindset and making the changes where you can. Mm-hmm. And not waiting till my bank balance can catch up. So that'll never happen. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much. And we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.